Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is Aditya, the founder and CEO at FirstHive. Hello,
Hey, Christian. It's good to meet you.
good to have you on the podcast. First of all, please tell us what your company does.
Yeah. FirstHive is a AI-enabled customer data platform. We work with primarily large consumer enterprises, so companies like banks, insurance, retail, CPG companies, and we are helping them in their transformation journey around data and digital customer experience. We help these enterprises take control of all their distributed disparate data from across all of the different products and tools that they use, bring all of that together, get to unified customer identities, and then they're able to use that data for autonomous customer experience delivery through the platform. So that's
Oh,
uh,
okay.
that's really what we do.
What would you say is the biggest problem that you solve for companies?
I think there are two kinds of problems that enterprises face, and depending on the enterprise, one is probably bigger than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on their unique situation. The first big problem is that enterprises end up, especially large enterprises with whom we work with, have anywhere from 40, 50 tools to sometimes 130, 140 different tools and systems where data is there of consumers. And unless you are able to kind of really take control of this data, you are handicapped in terms of your understanding of what the consumer actually needs, or even identifying the consumer across all the different channels that they interact with you, which means
Mm-hmm.
you're delivering suboptimal experience. So
Right.
this is part A of the problem. Part B of the problem is, while you may have data, and even if the enterprise starts pumping that data into data warehouses and so on, most of the times the ability to act on that data is limited because it's not in real time accessible to the frontline team. So it's almost like you're telling the captain of the ship to, navigate it blindfolded, and you're expecting to get to the destination. So yeah, so these are the two big areas: the ability to pull the data together, get to unified identities, and two, to be able to use it for real time conversations with customers in marketing, analytics, and so on.
Okay. And from your experience, what would you say are the top three most loved features of the platform?
Oh, I think the first one is the ease of integration. I mean, we are able to deliver rapid integration.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, our deployments are between 4 to 12 weeks, depending on the complexity, but this is pretty rapid compared to what happens in industry.
Okay.
Second is the unification itself, that which is the core of the platform. We have delivered uh, incredible amount of unification success to enterprises. We've one of the companies, we processed over 180 million records to deliver to them 5 million unique records. So if you think about the unification rate, we're talking about 95, 97% unification rates, which unlocks a lot of insight. And the third is, it's an extremely marketer friendly interface. So it's a completely no code DIY marketer friendly user interface, which makes the whole process of onboarding yourself onto the platform extremely easy and simple. The one additional thing that I'd say is that as we start unlocking these insights, there's a lot of machine recommendations that we deliver on the platform, which makes
Mm-hmm.
it easy to deliver impact.
And who you say is the ICP marketers at enterprises?
Yeah, we go to two buyers. I mean, depending on the enterprise, again, the buyers slightly change company to company, but it's usually the CMO team or the CIO team.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And do you have a success story that you can share with us without disclosing any names or something, just to understand how you help them with more data?
Yeah, absolutely. And let me share with you two very interesting success stories on both the two problems that I spoke about
Yep.
earlier. One is in terms of data itself. One of the enterprises that we work with, a large company in the travel hospitality space, we processed over 6 billion, 7 billion records for them. And for the first time in their existence as an org, they had the ability to recognize that behind these 7 8 billion records that we processed for them, they had about 70 80 million consumers. So which is incredible amount of unlocking of value for the enterprise, because now you can make it meaningful to every one of those consumers.
Yes.
Second, another company that we worked with, pretty much in the first couple of campaigns that they started sending out from the platform, we were able to, and this is a large global, I would say a Fortune 100 company in the retail CPG space. The first couple of campaigns as I sent out, they saw a 20 to 40% improvement in their conversions, which is massive when you consider that this is a large global enterprise that has lots of stack already deployed and lots of optimization already running on their communication. So the impact is pretty transformational in when we come in.
That's amazing. And how does the pricing work?
It depends. I mean, I think we again, I think on the pricing front as well, we've done something really interesting. Majority of the tools in this space typically look at number of customer records that you're holding, but that's suboptimal in our opinion because you end up holding records which are non-active and so on and so forth. So we align ourselves to the metric that the enterprise cares about, which is how many interactions am I actually processing or how much customer engagement am I delivering. So we price it on the back of the total events that the platform processes.
Okay. And in terms of market competition, how do you see the market? How competitive is it? And what do you think is different about FirstHive?
Yeah, I think marketing and data in general is a noisy market, even if whether or not you have a direct competition. And I think the customers, therefore, are also seeking for advice and true partnership from platforms here,
Yes.
because everybody stands up and says that look, we can do a lot of things, and that's something that we end up dealing with. But traditionally, competition for the category that we operate in comes either from your marketing automation folks or from some of the legacy products that exist. Increasingly, we also see some custom work come stepping up, and system integrators coming in to look at build versus buy decisions that enterprises have to deal with. But yeah, so that's how the competitive landscape for us is.
And how did you start up the company? What was the idea behind it? Did you face this pain in the past, or what was the story?
Yeah, I think I had a pretty interesting journey in marketing. I started my career with Procter and Gamble, so got one perspective to the whole industry. Moved out to a system integrator in Europe where I was selling tech and analytics to retail telecom manufacturing verticals. So got a technology and perspective to the whole problem. And then ran an agency for the next 7 years where we went on to deliver some of the largest loyalty customer engagement programs. And there I was really in the weeds. We were executing campaigns, so got a very, very close view to what the challenges were and how much money was being left on the table for enterprises. So it's a very personal, I think, journey that I've had, looking at the same problem from three different directions. And that's how I would say First Hive really was born.
And how big is the team today?
Today, globally, we are about 90 people as a company. We have some external contractors that work with us on the support side, but as employees, we're about 90 people, split across North America and India.
And what is the biggest challenge since starting the company?
um, I often say that running a startup is like being the cat in the Schrodinger's experiment. You're both dead and alive at the same
Yeah,
time.
I love it. I love
so,
it.
I think there's lots of exciting things that challenge you. It could be about something that's happening in the industry in general, new technology that's coming up, or scale that's coming up. Sometimes you might feel that having scale is a good problem to deal with, but as you work with large enterprises, one of the things that you recognize is people trust your careers with them, and large enterprises trust you for delivering their customer experience. So constantly ensuring that your platform is scaling up to meet the opportunities that are coming by is a challenge in itself. And we've seen some interesting growth. I mean, from the year one in 2019, where we processed about 10 million events, to last year about 15-20 billion events that we processed. It's been a rapid ramp in terms of scale for the platform, and that always keeps us awake at night.
That's amazing. And did you raise any funding?
We've raised a few rounds of financing, yes.
What was the largest one? Series A, Series B?
We've not really made series
Okay.
level announcements, but we've raised a couple of rounds of financing from
Okay.
venture across these 2-3 rounds that we've raised.
How did you find your first customers?
First customer was because because of my agency days. I had a lot of relationship with the customers, and so we actually we were pretty lucky because our first couple of customers knew what problem we were trying to build, and therefore they were willing to step up and kind of try the platform, and that's how we won the first couple of customers.
And
I would say
today,
the first real customer was about where we had no relationship from the past. I think that happened about 6-8 months back, which was through traditional sales outreach.
okay, that's amazing. And today,
Yeah.
what's the most successful go-to-market strategy for you?
We use all the three, I would say, all the components of your classic enterprise go to market. So we have a sales team and a demand gen team. Demand gen team works on both outbound as well as inbound. Sales team works on named accounts. We have partnerships through which we drive qualified leads, and we also participate in events and other other things that you go out there and drive your inbound. So yeah, so classic enterprise piece.
And on average, how much does it take to close a deal from day one?
Our typical sales cycle is about 4 to 6 months.
Hmm.
Again, I would say, I mean, you have aberrations on both sides, but that's usually the time it takes for us to land a typical deal.
And are there any specific industry events that you attend and meet the ICP in person?
Yeah, there are different events. I mean, our go to market is focused on two geographies. There's North America and Indo Pacific. So, depending on the region, we have different events that we participate in. We typically focus on three verticals: financial services, retail, CPG, and travel hospitality.
Hmm.
So, it's usually these industry events. We love cozy events. We also host a whole bunch of roundtables and breakfast roundtables with CXOs. We bring in interesting customers to come and talk about their success stories. So those things allow us to add a lot of value back to the ecosystem as well.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What is the vision for the future of the company?
I think there's the core transformation that enterprises are on right now is that of being able to at scale use a single brain in the body to be able to deliver autonomous customer experience, because enterprises today have to deal with multiple tools, each saying that I have a small brain and each playing with a small part of the data and doing some kind of automation and really throttling the access to the intelligence to the end back to the enterprise. So when we come in, we really layer this as the CPU on the motherboard, allowing the enterprise to really orchestrate the entire stack for themselves. And this is where there is the vision of the platform is really to be the autonomous brain in the body, which means that the machine can step up and really help the enterprise get to its objective. So
Okay.
that's the north star that drives us in terms of all the different product initiatives, the road mapping that we do, the AI components that we bring in and launch on the platform. All of that is driven by this vision that at scale on the consumer business, you need a machine that can take decisions rather than human guesswork that
Yes,
happens in marketing.
I totally agree, and I love this. I'm rooting for you. How about your journey, your career? How did you start? Can you walk us through the story?
Yeah, I'm an engineer. Post my engineering, did my B school, did my MBA, and then went straight into Procter. I was there for a few years. Always wanted to do something on my own, and therefore, for me, the move out from Procter into a system integrator was an important decision to, in my mind, a commit to eventually figuring out something on my own, because I was giving up on what I thought was an amazing stint at Procter. And then over the years, I look back and I think that a lot of the choices that I made, I got lucky at different points in time, got interesting opportunities, got to meet some really amazing folks, to do different things. Both I was in Europe, for example, with the system integrator, got to travel to 20-30 different countries running business there. uh, Co-founded my agency with a friend and did that for about 6 years. So lots of interesting experiences along the way, and I'm really excited that today we are able to build a company where I have like 8-10 people who've been there with me for over 7-8 years in my journey as an entrepreneur.
That's the dream. I love it. And what did the agency actually do? Was it a traditional marketing agency?
Yes, the marketing agency was in customer experience and loyalty. So we would come in, design and deploy loyalty programs. We would do customer engagement, but it was an agency with tech enablement. A small amount of tech, but really largely an agency. And we were doing loyalty program, reward, shipping, and so on. So it's a very, very different beast with operations.
What would be your best piece of advice for someone that just finished their studies and wants to get started, either as an entrepreneur and start their own company, or as a person in marketing?
Um,
Or, or what would
it's a
would
little
you tell
presumptuous
yourself?
of me to be able to give advice to others, but I'll just say that when I think about today, we are as I've traversed the part of being on the other side, having worked, and then now to be on this side where we constantly recruit and hire really smart folks. One of the things that I see is in every organization there are people who work for a company and people who believe they are the company. And I think when you recognize that in an organization, the organization manifests itself as you in your role, and therefore once you recognize that and you're able to work in alignment with the vision and the objective of the organization and the role, you really truly succeed. And that kind of shines. You start shining within the organization, because not everybody has the capacity to recognize that or act on that. And to me, I think that allows people to draw on their discretionary energy to be able to contribute to the growth of the organization. And that is something which is always exciting to see. Your peers notice it, your managers will notice it, and even for you, it expands the envelope of impact for you, because you're now truly thinking and acting like the org,
Yes.
rather than just being employed by the org.
Yes. So actually care and invest more than
Correct.
you're expected to. Do you have a favorite software that you use, but apart from FirstHive?
Yeah, I mean, I think just from a user experience standpoint, one of I won't say software, but I just love the Apple ecosystem, for example, right? The way iOS just makes it seamless for you to go across devices. Their onboarding process from a customer standpoint, you simple things like the way you buy a watch, the way it's seamless, then the way it connects. I love the fact about how every brand interaction is an opportunity for you to reinforce the commitment and the value of what the brand stands for. And I think Apple does it really, really well. That is something that I constantly keep getting inspired by.
Yeah, those are my main questions. Is if there's anything else that you want to mention today on the podcast, please
No,
feel
thank you
free
for
to
having
do it.
us on, and it's fun chatting with you, and we're happy to. I'm happy to have folks reach out, follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and we'd love to get inputs on how you think we can take FirstHive to new markets. We're constantly expanding, so absolutely.
Thank you so much. It was fantastic.
All right, thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.